Hello, I'm Coach Lance Meyer of GRAS Ministries, a partner ministry with the City for God, and today we're looking at sunsets, and I want to just do a little quick demo so that those of you who are participating in our class today will have a little bit of teaching uninterrupted, hopefully a little bit. So we've done our drawing. I'll show you the picture we're using here. This is the one that I'm going to use, and part one, all of us are going to have a pretty similar sky, okay, just to get us started. So it'll look something like what is up here. And then you're going to have some choices on how you want to proceed from there. But we're going to start with the sky. I've kind of put in, and we won't be able to necessarily see that real well, but I drew in very lightly the sun and some of those foregrounds. So now what we're going to do is grab a big brush, and we're going to just wet this whole top area with some clean water here. And I'm just going to wet this whole top area. In fact, I'm even just going to wet the back side of my paper too, so it sticks to my palette. Those of you who have taped yours down, you'll just do it that way. I like to work with this very loose, wet style to start with. Flip that back around. All right, that's nice and wet, and now I'm going to wet everything but that area around the sun. I'm going to do my best. Oh, there we go. I already messed it up because it went into my circle. That's okay. I'm just going to create another sun there. That's the one spot I want to keep dry if I can. It's not the end of the world if I don't, but if I can, I'm going to do that. And I'm just wetting this whole top area up here. Could even paint over what might end up being the mountains. In fact, I'm going to do that. We're just going to get basically the top third or so of our painting all very wet, with the exception of the sun. If I can help it, and if it does get in there, it'll be all right. All right, next up, we're going to grab a biggest brush we have. I know some of you are limited on size of brush, but you're going to grab the biggest one you have. And you could use that too for what I just did. I just tried to save a little time there. All right, we're going to grab whatever yellow we have. I happen to have some Hansa here. And I'm going to put that onto my palette. Mixing it right on my palette here. Getting a good amount of yellow. A general rule in painting is to always start with yellow because it will be easy to cover, right? And then it mixes with our blues to create green and our reds to create orange. Alright, so I got my yellow, I got a good amount of it up here. And now I'm going to actually find that area around the sun, and I'm going to actually try to go around it. Hopefully that area that's just a little dry. Again, not the end of the world if you lose your sun a little bit, but preferably. And then we're going to paint. I've kind of got these trees on one side, and I kind of created some mountains on the other. I'm going to kind of use that generally and just kind of use that edge a little bit. I'm going to paint over my tree or whatever else is over there. I'm trying to work quickly here. I'm not going to quite come all the way up to the top though. I'm just going to kind of run that, but I'm going to be pretty generous with my yellow, and if it runs into the mountains or trees, that's actually fine. Just a little bit up there. Okay, that should be pretty good. Now we're either going to clean this brush or grab another brush, whichever you're able to do. Okay, I'm going to keep the same brush and just clean it out a little bit here.
I want to tell you a story.
All right.
I used to believe that Jesus.
Now we're going to use red. It's real important that we don't let the yellow and blue touch each other, because otherwise they'll turn green up in the sky. And generally speaking, skies are not green, especially ours today. We want to be working with the sunlight. So I'm going to grab just a little red here. I happen to be using permanent rose. Get that in here. That going. And notice I'm using red, even though the sky has probably got a little more of an orange tint to it. But when I mix that with the yellow, we're going to end up with kind of a pinky orange color anyway. So, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of just work my way kind of across here toward the top a little bit. I'm going to kind of run that a little bit in toward the sun, maybe not all the way to the sun. And I'm just not going to come all the way down necessarily. You'll notice it's kind of got some pinky, it's kind of got some yellow, orange I should say. I'm going to make sure up here that I'm a little more generous up here. I want to make sure that I cover any of this top yellow. And just kind of run that, maybe over here it kind of runs like that. I'm going to keep kind of a yellow focus right there. Yeah, I want to come on the other side of that sun as well, maybe a little lighter, just so it's kind of balanced a little bit. Okay, something like that. One more just nice little streak of this bright red kind of running through there. Okay, now I got to make sure, yep, up here is mostly red, but I left a little spot for my blue. All right, now, again, I'm going to clean my brush. I can already see those bright, cool colors in there. Working quickly. I'm not racing. I'm going to grab my blue, okay? And I'm going to use some manganese or cerulean. You could use cobalt or just whatever blue you have. And I'm going to run that from the top. And I'm just going to run that across the top. My blue is relatively light. Yours may end up being a little bit darker, and that's okay. Now, one little tip. The top is always going to be the darkest. Okay, so I'm going to, you can see me here, I'm kind of running back over that a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of run that down into my reds, which will turn that purple a little bit. Now, I'm going to come back with a little bit darker blue one more time up here. There we go. Oh, that's pretty already. Okay, look at that. Okay, now, I'll hold that up so you can see it. And that really is part one. Now, if I wanted to add a little bit of those purples, just a little bit, kind of clouds a little bit, I can drop a couple of those, mix a little blue with my red, make a nice little purple. Sometimes in the sky you'll get these kind of, I'm just going to run one right through here, kind of a purplish cloud that kind of runs up toward the sun. I'll put a couple of those in here just for good measure. Yeah, those are kind of cool. So we'll kind of just back and forth just a little bit. Oh, that turned a little bit green on me. Yep, we got to get a little more red in there. There we go. Okay, I like that. I'm still keeping some of the yellow, and it's kind of, yeah, kind of divides that up a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to get crazy with that. Maybe there would be one on that other side just to balance it out a little bit. Again, here I'm mixing my red and my blue. Making just a little bit of a purple color. And I'm just going to run that. I don't even know if I want to put it on that side. Yeah, I'll just run one, just a little one right through here. Just to break that up a little bit. Okay, that's very pretty. I want that yellow to kind of, I want two yellow spots. I want one kind of, my main focus in here where the green's going to be. And then around the sun, right? So I like what I have here, so I'm not even going to mess with it much more than that. Other than I'm going to come back one more time, as I said, on the top on that darker blue. One more time. Just the top of the sky will be a little more pure blue and a little darker. The other thing is you can kind of put that little vignette on the side up there, so it's a little more on the top, a little bit darker blue there, and the same thing on this other side. Okay, I think we've got a nice pretty sunset here. I don't want to mess with that too much more than that. Okay, I'll show it to you one time, then we're going to just let that rest for a moment. That is part one.